Hoy volvemos a las entrevistas en el canal de Punto de Break y hoy tenemos pues a un invitado muy pero que muy especial. Hablamos de Ivan Ljubicic, el que ha sido entrenador de Roger Federer durante los últimos 6 años. Vamos a hablar con él de cómo ha sido su trabajo todo este tiempo, de qué ha trabajado con él, todas las cosas que ha vivido junto al suizo, 3 Grand Slams por el camino y sobre todo también conocer un poquito más de detalle acerca de qué sucede con el tema de la retirada en los últimos meses. ¿Queréis ver la entrevista? Yo os aseguro que es muy, pero que muy interesante. Venga, cabecera y empezamos. So, we have the pleasure to have a very special guest today in Punto de Break. He's one of the best coaches in the tour, and he has been involved in Federer's team in the last 6 years. He's the one and only Ivan Ljubicic. Ivan, thank you for being here with us today.
No problem. Pleasure to be here, and thanks for the invitation.
Well, it has been 2 weeks since Federer officially retired, and his fans are still sad. I think for the fans, it is not yet a reality that they will not see Federer playing again. How have you been living these 2 weeks?
I mean, I agree and I don't agree because in a way, Roger hasn't played since last 14 months. So the reality is what we have been having last 14 months, and the fact that he will play tennis again, 100%, in the non-official tournaments. So the fans will be able to enjoy seeing him on the tennis court playing matches. It's just not going to be at official events. I mean, I personally, it's been quite a long time since Roger was, competitive, and in a way, kind of got used to this new reality for me personally. But it is the end of an era. It's the end of something beautiful, because what Roger did, or what Roger gave to tennis it's a lot more than the numbers that I personally don't like to talk about. So yeah, it was an emotional moment for all of us, I think, who are living this sport every day. He did a lot of good things to our sport, and he made our sport a lot more popular and interesting by not only by his successes, but also the way he played, and the way he behaved, and the way he is actually as a person.
Well, we have a lot to talk about, and I'd like to take a journey with you through your last 6 years to reach the final steps this summer. So in first instance, how does everything happen at the beginning? Did he call you personally, or how do you become his coach?
No, we had a dinner. I mean, we were close friends before we worked. I mean, even when we were, big rivals, sort of say, if I can consider myself his rival, because the record is 13-3, so it's not really a rival, but few matches I did win. So we were quite close already a long time ago. But that 2015, actually end of 2015, I was in London at the ATP finals, and yeah, he invited me for dinner, and with my wife and his wife, and we just had a casual dinner. And in the end of the dinner, he asked me if I would be interested in coaching him, which for me was a big surprise, because I had no idea that was even an option, since he was working with Stefan Edberg and things were good, and nobody actually knew that they were not going to go on for the 2016 season. So it was a big, obviously, honor for me. Very, very nice moment, just to think that somebody like Roger would consider me as a coach who can help him, and so it was very beautiful first couple weeks up until I started actually to work with him. And then very quickly after that, I flew to Dubai, and we started the off season, which was nice, a little bit strange at the beginning, but yeah. And then right away First tournament, he lost the final to Raonic. Second tournament, lost semis to Djokovic, and then hurt himself, and the first surgery came. So it was a tough beginning, but we had also good moments, of course. Then we will talk about, I guess, right now.
When he told you to become his coach, how long did it take you to make up your mind and give your yes?
No, but it was, of course I said yes. I love to help you, and then we did speak about tennis even before, we would discuss some opponents, some matches, we were friends, so he kind of already knew what he can expect from me in terms of coaching. So we didn't talk about trial period or anything like that, so he knew exactly what he can get with me. So it was not, we immediately started talk about the goals, he asked me how I see his tennis, what do I think about last, I don't remember now, is it like 6 months or 1 year? Then immediately you start talking business, how do we go from here? And also how to organize, it was Severin was there, of course, in some time. So should we travel together, or does he want me how many weeks, and then all the technical details that came quite quickly, because we didn't have a lot of time, and it was already in deep November, and the pre-season was starting in the beginning of December.
That was actually my next question. What was your vision for him, or what were your insights about how he should play?
Well, I told him that I immediately, of course, the goals, it's very obvious. It's winning slam, slam. There was one slam. It was a big goal. I always believed that he had more than one slams in him, and so that was always my mantra. I always was telling him, I think you're going to win more than one. And I do believe that he appreciated and he enjoyed my confidence in his abilities and his chances to win slams, even though I believe the last slam before we started to work together was 2012, so it was quite some time. Then technically, it's not at the highest level when you speak about coaching or about ideas. It's not, okay, hit the backhand like this, hit the forehand like that. It's not that simplified. It's more about general feel of the game, and I felt always that he's the best close to the baseline. I didn't enjoy him slicing too much and going to the net, yes, but with a certain ball. It's more kind of strategic. But of course, he's one of the players who now we have to talk in the past, who was adapting to the opponents incredibly well, right? He is one of those who could have changed tactics, from one set to another, or from one player to another incredibly well, and being very effective, which is I don't think there's anybody else on tour who is able to play different styles with such quality.
As you said, Federer was slicing a lot of his backhand time before. Since you started working with him, we see a Roger fighting way more with his backhand. Maybe we saw the best Roger backhand in his career with you?
There were moments of brilliance with that shot, starting with Australian Open in 17 and then, going on that season and later on as well. But we don't, I heard that a lot, Ivan improved his backhand. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like you're standing there giving him balls and then he's hitting the backhand like this and you tell him, don't do that, do this. It's more, I think, tactical approach or the way I thought that, especially against Rafa in those situations, that I felt like he had to play more flat than flipping the backhand. And against Rafa, we know that you should not slice. So it's a couple things get together that he then came up with such a weapon. And then obviously once he started to feel it good and he gained confidence in that shot, and then he was able to use it more and more effectively. And so it became this sort of new shot. But it was funny for us because we obviously read comments and ideas, but it's not like he changed the shot. He probably at the beginning changed the way to use it in some specific cases, and then he started to feel more confident about it, and he was hitting with more confidence, with more freedom, and then it became a weapon.
So after a few months working together, as you mentioned before, he needed to stop playing at the end of 2016. And you said in an interview that you had practiced for 4 or 5 months with a lot of intensity and quality work. But after that setback, did you still believe in that at that time that he had more slams to win?
Yeah, because I had no doubts. That 16, the first part. I mean, you have doubts only in a way that if this knee is going to be okay or not. If you have physical limitations, then you cannot win slams, of course. But our big fear was after that Wimbledon 2016, that how the knee will be, and the decision was made that let's rest it up and let's practice hard, because technically, when he did the exams and all the scans and everything, there was nothing wrong with the knee. So decision was and it was not great. He was not feeling well, so we made a decision that he just needs to work harder to make it strong again and to feel confidence in his body to push it 100%. So that's where the decision was made to kind of, okay, let's rest first and then practice hard to come back strong again. And the first part of that period was physical, very strong and hard physical work. And then we started to introduce tennis, and any coach in the world will tell you that after a lot of work and hard work and long period of practice, good results come. So when we realized that there's nothing wrong with knee and that we were able to push really hard, our confidence also started growing, and we believed that he can do the good stuff. But honestly, to tell you that we thought that he can win a slam, like immediately the Australian Open, it was we knew that he can win any match. But you don't go to these kind of tournaments with the confidence that, okay, I'm going to win the tournament. You go with the confidence that, okay, I feel good. If I play well, who knows what's going to happen? And then you go match by match, and any matchup, any match, nobody can say, Roger, you cannot win. So you go with the confidence that if the things come along, that something good can happen, and something great actually happened.
Something as great as the title in Australia 2017. How would you describe that tournament for you?
Well, I mean, first of all, actually, there was the Hopman Cup before where he hurt his back. I mean, I don't think this is common information, but he had some back problems when we arrived in Perth.
Wow.
And he didn't practice for a few days. So it was after we have worked for so well, it was not a panic, because, if you don't practice a few days, it's not going to be an issue. But it was not all smooth sailing, as we say. It was always a little bit. And then he played well in Perth. Confidence started to grow, and we came to Melbourne with feeling good, feeling fine. And let's see what the tournament will bring. So as the tournament was going on, and his confidence started to build, we started to believe that it's going to be, well, more than anything, it's going to be hard to beat this kind of Roger. This Roger is going to be difficult to beat. So we were more curious at the beginning to see, okay, how the tournament is gonna turn out. And then as we went on and quarters and semis, then obviously you start believing in the incredible possibility to actually maybe win the tournament one day. But it was a progressive kind of belief and confidence that something good can happen.
Federer himself said it was a surprise for him to get the title. Was it the same for you?
Well, I mean, if you look backwards from here, or if you look forward from before the tournament, of course it's a surprise. But if you take every match by match separately, then it's another surprise, right? It's not a surprise that he played the way he played, right? It's not a surprise that he won those matches that he won. But if you look of kind of the facts, yes, you can say that it was a surprise. But I can tell you that he was not surprised the way he played or the way he actually won those matches, because he's Roger Federer in the end of the day, But you cannot, as I said before, you don't go into the tournament like he did, for example, in Wimbledon, then later that year, thinking, okay, I can win this tournament, I'm the favorite. In Australia was not this feeling. It was more the feeling, I feel good. Let's see what this tournament will bring. Feeling good, And if I win 3-4 matches and I get into the second week, I'm going to be tough to beat kind of situation. And then you go match by match, and then he's experienced enough that he knows also how to deal with these pressures in the semis and in the final.
It was his first slam in almost 5 years with Rafa in the final. I guess you remember these 2 weeks very vividly in your mind. And prior to the final, you had 2 full days. What advice did you give him before the match?
You mean the final?
Yeah.
Well, it was, I mean, in that situation, he was a little bit lucky because he was on the half of the draw that was playing first. So his semis was on Thursday, and we had Rafa was playing Dimitrov on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
So we obviously we didn't know if the final would have been against Rafa or Grigor. Grigor was playing really well that whole tournament, so it was not given that it was going to be Rafa. But we started to prepare for the lefty, just because it takes a bit more time to kind of get used to the lefty. So that Friday morning and afternoon, I don't remember now, but during the day we practiced with the lefty, just in case it would have been Rafa, because it's much easier to then readjust to the righty, So and then Friday night we watched that match. It was a spectacular match against Grigor and Rafa. We spoke about the match a little bit that Friday. I had some ideas. I was showing him some matches that I picked up these ideas, how to play and how to organize his game. And it was one match, Fernando Gonzalez against Rafa. I don't remember now the year, but it was in Australian Open where Fernando really destroyed Rafa, and I get some ideas from that match and some from other matches. So I was kind of collecting the informations in case it would have been Rafa, that what I feel like Roger should be doing. And then when Friday night, then finally Rafa won, then Saturday we insist even more so on that. He practiced, I think it was Yashika, Omar Yashika. He was Australian lefty who we had really some good practices those days, and he was ready. He was confident. He was he was feeling good and ready to fight. And I remember one of the things that we discussed is that he has to be ready to play 5 sets mentally. Physically, of course, you go, but it's not realistic to think that you can win in 3 sets, right? It's not realistic. And if you're not ready to win in 5, then it's only one result, that you're mentally ready. So you have to be ready for everything, of course. So I think that also, and in that period, in those 2 days, we spoke a lot about, what to do, what to expect, what not to do, and you don't know what is going to stick, what kind of information is going to be the one that is going to be the important one. So then later, I don't know which one was the one that was important for him, but I saw Roger who was ready to win. I saw Roger who was playing well. And even that beginning of the 5th set when he was break down, I was actually feeling confident. I'm not saying that I felt like he will win, but I was feeling that it's not over, because he was doing all the right things that we spoke about, or that I felt like he had to win, he had to do, and he started to really play better, right? He was creating chances. He was really putting Rafa on the back foot, and I felt like he could turn this around, and in the end, of course, he did, and it was amazing feeling, huge happiness and excitement after the match, because it was something that it was long time for him waiting for that to happen, and as we said, we didn't really expect to kind of already win the Australian Open, so it was a great happiness.
Was he nervous before the final?
Well, he was joking in the press conference that he had to calm me down, because I don't know. I mean, I felt nervous because that's what the coach also feels before the matches. I don't know who was more nervous or not, but of course you're nervous. I mean, it's a slam final. For me, it was the first slam final as a coach, but it was exciting. Of course you feel nervous. I was nervous. He was nervous. Everybody was nervous. It was a big moment because not only it's a slam final, but was final against Rafa, and in that time they were like the 2 players who won the most slams. So it was historical match. And when you are part of something historical, you feel nervous.
He beat Nadal 4 times in a row. in 2017, 4 times in a row. We came from a very unbalanced head-to-head. So I think your advice must have played a role in that success. What did Federer change to reverse the situation against Nadal that year?
Well, I mean, this is a question for Roger as well, but after that Australian Open, I think he started to feel a lot more confident. He really played well in Indian Wells and Miami against Rafa. I would almost say without any chances. He was taking the ball early. He was playing flat. He was attacking Rafa's forehand a bit more than he was maybe doing in the past. So a lot of things that maybe Rafa didn't expect also, because it was some just small maybe tactical change adjustment, and it puts you off balance immediately. And he was just playing well. I think he was playing that 2017. He played incredible tennis throughout the whole year. He lost very few matches. He lost to Donskoy in Dubai, which I don't even take consideration, or Tommy Haas in Stuttgart. So I keep saying that year he really lost one match that I feel that he really lost, was the semis at the finals in London. That was the match that I really feel like he is the only one you actually really lose. But other than that, the whole season was just a dream, really. I mean, to see him playing, it was like really spectacular.
This is a very tricky question, okay? What do you think will have happened in Roland Garros 2019 if the win did not have an impact in that semifinal? Do you think he will have beaten Nadal too?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is one of those, as you said, tricky questions. What would have happened if? I don't know. I mean, I was hoping, well, not hoping, it's also the wrong way to say it, but I think the match would have been a lot more spectacular and interesting without the wind. I cannot say Roger would have won. I think he would definitely have more chances or bigger chances, or without wind, but not because Rafa plays better with the wind or not. It's just that the wind takes away some options that Roger would have had, because when you play against Rafa, you have to play close to the lines. If you play the ball close to the middle, he's going to destroy you, and with the wind it's just very difficult, if not impossible, to kind of play close to the lines, and Rafa's game just adapts in that case a lot better to those windy conditions, even though it was close. It was not beat down. It was not something that Roger didn't have a chance at all. I felt like he had some chances, but I personally, as a fan of tennis, would have preferred that match to be in sort of, say, whatever the normal conditions, right? I think it would have been more spectacular, more interesting. But knowing Rafa's record in Roland Garros, there is probably a good chance that the winner would have stayed the same. But I think the fans would have enjoyed that match definitely a lot more without such a strong wins.
But I was in Roland Garros 2019, and I saw a very comfy Federer on clay. I mean, he was really sharp that year. So I think he was not that far from Rafa that year.
I mean, again, we will never know. He was playing well. He was feeling confident and comfortable on clay, like he always does, because people forget, they think because Rafa won 14 Roland Garros and Roger only one, that there is a huge gap and difference in it. But Roger's second best surface is maybe clay after grass. It's just that there is Rafa on the other side, who was taking all the titles away. But Roger on clay, when he's playing well, it's very difficult to beat. And he had a lot of great wins and great moments. And don't forget, he beat Rafa on clay more than once. So it's or more than once. Well, I definitely remember in Hamburg where he beat him, 6-love.
In Madrid too.
In the third, in Madrid, which is also particular clay. So definitely more than once. So, I mean, Roger, clay is not his best surface, and there is somebody who plays on clay a lot better than him. But he's still one of the best players on clay, I believe. It's just that he played in Rafa's era, so it was difficult for him to express his skills and talent on clay in front of the monster that Rafa is.
Then we get to Wimbledon 2019. You pointed out that it was the most painful defeat for Roger, maybe for you too, as I see.
Well, for me, I mean, I don't know for him or not, because we honestly never talked about it, but it was, of course, it was very painful.
But how did he feel in the locker room after that final?
I mean, how do you feel? You feel sad, you feel painful, you know. It's getting so close to the title and not taking it. Of course, it's painful, you know. But I didn't spend too much time in the locker room that day, because after the final, you have the press, you have the ceremony, you have this, that, you know. And then we went quite soon to the house where we were during Wimbledon, and we just invited friends and then celebrated the final. That's what can you do, you know. Of course, at the beginning, it feels a little bit forced, because you know, you feel sad and you feel you missed on something big. But you know, with a little bit of music and a little bit of good vibe, you kind of, you know, go over it and you move on. I mean, that's what the sportsmen do.
So those match points that he lost against Novak Djokovic were not stuck in his mind for later on. I mean,
this I don't know. I mean, this again, you need to ask him. I mean, for sure, it's you know, it's not like you go to sleep and you forget about it. I mean, it's there for sure for some time, but I cannot say that match had an impact on his career. I don't think so. I mean, he has too much experience and he is too strong to be shaken by one match, even if that match is a final of Wimbledon.
Then he started to live a nightmare with his right knee. He had to stop again, and he tried to come back last year in 2021. And even at 50-60% of his best, he reached the second week both in Roland Garros and Wimbledon. I mean, he would have been at 80, 90, or close to this 100%. Do you think we will have seen Roger fighting for slams last year or even in this 2022?
I mean, why not? The problem was that last year when he came back in Doha and everything later, he was really never 100%. You know, so there was not a tournament or a practice where we just said, okay, now it's good, let's go, right? It was always how is the knee, how, you know, can we do this, should we do that, you know. It was always adapting, or always, you know, not being fully free. It was tough. It was very difficult period. I mean, he won all of those matches because it's Roger, you know, not because of the work that has been done, because it was not done, not enough. He was not ready to go all the way, and he knew that. And it was very difficult for him to play those tournaments, knowing that, you know, he's definitely missing something to go all the way. So for him mentally, I think it was very, very hard to play Halle, especially Halle and Wimbledon. I mean, Roland Garros, he played, you know, with ideas to kind of get hours in and get going and try to go through, and hoping that he's gonna feel better playing a lot, you know. But unfortunately, it was not the case.
For me, personally, it was a shock, because Roger posted on Instagram in April this year that the rehab was rocking, and then we knew that he made the decision to retire this summer. I mean, in June, July. What happened in these 2-3 months that made him change his mind?
Well, it was, you know, we had certain progress in mind that was needed in order to kind of keep going. And for him, keep going means winning tournaments. You know, keep going doesn't mean playing one match. You know, he would have not come back to play first round, second round, first round, second. You know, he wanted to come back 100%. You know, for him to be the way he was in 21 was not an option. So he was looking for something better than that. And the progress was constant up until a certain point, up until Wimbledon this year, where then the progress just stopped. And this was something that we knew that there was a danger. We knew that it could have happened. And then unfortunately, he realized that he will not be able to come back in a way that he wanted. So then, you know, he had this very difficult period and time, you know, July, August, to decide what to do. You know, do you wait longer? But, you know, to wait for what? Because the progress obviously stopped. Or do you try to play, or you don't try to play? Do you it was just very, very difficult moment, and the decision he made, it's okay now, it's enough. That was the first decision, and then the second decision. Okay, what now? Right? Do I play one more match? Do I don't play? Can I play? Should I play? So that's all that it was going through his head until he made the decision how to do it, and then obviously the announcement came, and we really didn't know until last moment if he was able to play that doubles against with Rafa, which was something that he really wanted to do, and I'm personally very happy that he was able to finish on the court, which was always his dream.
I know you cannot give us all the details about his right knee injury, but could you pinpoint the main struggle for him while training? Was it lateral movement, running, playing back-to-back days?
No, there is not one specific movement, or it's just that it's the knee just can't take the load. It can't take enough stress what is needed to play 5 sets and come back next day and play 5 sets. As simple as that. There is not one particular movement, or it's just that it's when you drive a car and then eventually hits the amount of kilometers that it just doesn't it just can't take it anymore. That's what it is.
How did you process the news when he told you that he was going to retire?
Well, it was not a shock, I mean, honestly, because he hasn't played for so long, and I knew that there was a chance. It was a moment of silence, because you realized, okay, it's gonna be over, really. You do feel shocked, but not because you didn't expect it, but because actually it's happening. So it was a moment of reflection, that something it's ending, something beautiful, something fantastic, something great, and that I personally also was part of it, almost 7 years actually. So I mean, as much as you expect, and it's as much as it's coming, sooner or later, and probably sooner, it is the moment that hits you. I had when he called me on the phone call, and he told me, I mean, I didn't know what to say, honestly. Then we spoke again the day after and the 2 days later, and I tried to express my feelings, but it's not easy. We are not only, we had the working relationship, but we're also close friends. So I try to make sure that he's well, before thinking of myself, and it seemed like he was okay. Obviously getting nervous as the moment was getting closer to announcement, but I mean, it is a moment.
You said that there was no way that he would have ever stopped on his own. Do you think we would have seen Roger playing in his 50s if he had no problem at all?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, the thing is that he loves tennis so much, and he loves playing. He loves tennis life. He loves everything about it, right? He loves press conferences. He loves his sponsors. He purely and honestly loves everything what he was and what he was doing. That there was no, people sometimes would come to me and said, if he would have won that Wimbledon 19, would have he retired there on the spot, and I was thinking, like, no, like, why would he? So it's not like he was looking for the reason to stop. He wanted to play, right? So if he was fit and healthy, I mean, honestly, how are you fit and healthy at 45? Let's say, you just can't. But he never mentioned, stopping playing until he actually said, I'm done. Right? He wanted to play. And this is maybe a concept that people have struggled to understand, even some pro players, most of the pro players, because everybody's kind of playing for something. If I do this, then I'll stop. Or if I achieve this, I'll stop. If this happens, I stop. Everybody's thinking about stopping before they even stop, right? Roger didn't do that. He wanted to play. So how long he would have played, I mean, obviously, probably until he was competitive, because he would not enjoy, being 25 in the world, and that's not something that would have been fun for him. But he was not looking for the reason to stop.
Okay, Ivan. So now we go for the speed test, as I mentioned before the interview. This is a test where you can answer in a few words. You can elaborate if you like, but this is a very
I need to be fast.
Yeah, very fast. So let's go for it. Okay, Ivan. So first question: major improvement in Federer tennis since you started working with him?
Position on the court.
What would you say that is your biggest achievement as Federer's coach?
Helping him win more slams.
What match will you replay once again?
Well, Wimbledon final 19.
Let's imagine that coaching is allowed back in 2019, like it is now, and Roger is too much points against Novak Djokovic in that Wimbledon final. What advice do you give him?
I wouldn't coach. I'm not a fan of coaching on the court. You need to leave the player alone. He has to come up with the solutions and decisions. You can only confuse the player coaching. This is my opinion.
Okay. That's good. Roger, best quality as a person?
Honest.
And his best quality as a tennis player?
Movement.
Did you cry in his farewell?
Yes, of course. Who didn't?
Attention with this one. Who is the GOAT for you in the ATP side?
Roger.
I saw your farewell on Twitter with him. You said that it was better to coach him, not playing against him. What has meant for you to be his coach?
It meant a lot. I mean, it meant the world to me also, because I learned a lot just being by his side and understanding what it means to be Roger Federer, what it means to be one of the greatest ever.
Have you already received calls from other ATP players asking you to be their coach?
Yes.
Can you give us a hint, like top 10 player?
No.
No? Okay.
No hints. But not only tennis players, also some TVs, federations. I received some calls, yes. But I have not decided anything yet.
Okay. And the last one. This is the last one. After Federer, what kind of player would you like to coach? I know you didn't make up your mind yet, but a veteran legend, or would you like to coach a newborn star?
I don't know. I mean, it needs to be something that excites me. Really, it has to be something that I get emotionally involved. I'm not a person who does things to do them. I need to get in love with the project. So there's no limitation.
Okay. The speed test is finished. So now maybe you ask yourself this: what is the next step for you? What are your plans for yourself?
Yes. I mean, I have the academy. This is where I am at the moment, and I love working with the kids. They just give me so much energy, and also tennis fanatics. Also recreational players, and I just love being around people who love tennis, right? So. I don't know. I definitely will take some time until end of the year to make up my mind and see, if there are going to be other offers, and if not, if the current ones, I will accept one of them. I will not rush into. I don't have a need. I don't have a wish to kind of do something else immediately. So as I said, for the players, but it goes also with other projects. I need to feel emotionally attached to something. It has to be. It doesn't. I mean, you might be surprised, but it can be something completely off, that maybe has never been done before, or something that people don't think it's possible, but I want to prove it's possible. You need to feel. You need to wake up in the morning and think about that. Instead of just thinking about the work when you show up. Somewhere. So, and this maybe it's not around yet, or maybe it never will be around, but this is what I'm looking for.
I know that you have your academy there. Walk me through a day in the office for you? What do you do in your academy?
Well, I'm not in the office much. I mean, I'm on the court mostly, but we do have, let's say 8 o'clock, we are meeting the coaches, and we are talking about the players that we have currently on the island, and what to do with each one of them. The good part of where we are is that the biggest amount of players we had was about 30. And sometimes, most of them are at the tournament, so we go also all the way down to maybe 6, 8, so we can put more focus to them. So this is what I like, that we really can focus on the players individually. So we discuss what to do, how to do, and what kind of work needs to be done. So the practices usually start at 9 up until 12:30. We have once a week, sometimes twice, we have a team meeting of all the coaches and fitness coaches and also the office people, because I like to kind of, for the people to feel like a part of the team. Lunch, and then we start again, with the warm-ups at 2:30, practice at 3 up until 6:30. And then usually I usually speak with some parents who are here, and then the players if somebody wants. So it's pretty much 8 to 8 kind of the working day here in the academy for me.
I have seen some images of the academy and the center, and it is amazing. You have almost everything in the academy.
We have everything. It is really, I mean, it's gonna sound like an ad, but it is beautiful place, really. I mean, if for anything,
where it is,
if somebody's considering just enjoying his time, we have great restaurants, we have fantastic tennis, obviously, facilities, but not only that. I mean, windsurfing, diving, dolphins visits. I mean, I heard 98% of the dolphin trips are successful, that people actually see dolphins.
Wow.
Hiking, swimming, I mean, you name it. It's really, really nice place. So we like it. We like it because when it's warm, we enjoy everything that the island has to offer. In the winter days, it's us. So we have peace and quiet, and we can focus on the work. So I really, really feel good on the island.
Where it is exactly?
It is north part of Croatian coast, right? So you would need to drive or get to Rijeka, which is third biggest city of Croatia, close to kind of Italian coast, northwest. And then there is a short ferry trip, like only 15-20 minutes, and then you drive all the way down. So in a way, it's when you look on the map, one could think, how do I get there? But it's actually quite simple. It's not that. And actually driving on the island, it's spectacular. And if anybody's coming and wants to come, just make sure you're coming during the day, because you want to have those views that are really, really, really beautiful.
I need to be.
And also, if you're driving on the island, be careful. There are a lot of animals on the road, the sheep, goats. I mean, it's wild here, so just be careful.
I need to visit Croatia. It's on my main list. I have seen that you have some chess tables there, and you play chess with your students. Is this a way to work on mental strengths?
No, I mean, that's not the original idea. The original idea is just to do something else, to distract kids from tennis all the time, and I think it's better than being on the phones and on tablets, so I'm a big chess fan. I'm really passionate about it, so I follow it. I play it when I have time online, and so I bought some chess boards, and I try, we have some really good players here. Actually, one kid from India is unbeatable for me. But I'm working hard. I have to get him.
Do you also have a young girl or a young guy who seems to have a bright future ahead too?
Well, we have quite few actually. More and more. This week actually we got some very interesting players. So I think, we are open since a year. I think down 3 to 5 years from now, I hope, and this is my goal, that we are recognized as academy that it does do a good job in helping, especially this kind of the window of the kids between 12, 13 and 17, 18 to reach their potential. we will, for starting next year, we will organize some activities and projects also for the, as I said, recreational and touristic players, because it's just beautiful, and I want to also give some time to these people. But yeah, you're probably talking about Luna Vujovic, who I like a lot. I mean, she has been in the academy since a year. We did some good progress, and then I think she has definitely a bright future in front of her.
We will write down her name. So the last question, Ivan, if someone, I'm sure this interview is going to be seen around the world, and if there's a kid who wants to become a tennis player, or there's a father that dreams to bring their kids to a place where they can learn how to play tennis, tell them why they should choose your academy and what makes it so special.
Well, this is the I would invite, first of all, I would invite everybody just to come for a week and see. Right, because talking, it's one thing, experiencing, it's another. You know, I think everybody has a week time to kind of try it out and see. You know, we are in a place where everything is in one kind of plot. You know, you don't use a car, everything is walking distance, you don't lose time in traffic, you don't we have everything in one place. We are attached to the hotel where the academy is, so we have everything in a hotel what we need. It's easy to be here, it's easy to play tennis, and we are very limited number of people, and we are able, because we are able to give more attention to kids and the players who are with us. So this is our mantra. You know, we're trying to really give a lot of attention. We never really have more than 2 players on the court. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we put 3 because of one specific exercise, but I really want to make sure that the quality work is done. So that's our goal, really, to have the quality work and the great coaches. And my goal is to have the best possible coaches here that are able to give these players quality informations.
So, Ivan, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here. We have known more about the amazing work that you have done with Roger. And for me, I really hope to see you again on tour as a coach, because we really enjoyed your job. So thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in a tournament in the future, in the next years.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me and for the invitation.
Thank you, Ivan. Ciao, ciao.
Okay. Ciao.